Hi, I'm Brian. I'm going to replace the rear turn signals and brake lights with LED lights on this 2017 Suburban.
We're going to start with the installation of the LED bulbs, and then we're going to follow up with a description of which LED bulbs we chose, how to get the best light output quality, how to avoid hyper flashing, and error codes on the driver display. The tail light assembly uses 7440 bulbs. After opening the rear hatch, we have to remove this trim panel. You can find trim removal tools online for a few dollars. The fasteners on this trim piece are a little tight, so it may take a little work to get it off. You can see the three fasteners here, here, and here, and the slots that they go into. With the trim panel removed, there are two screws that we have to remove. The screws use a Torx bit, also known as a star bit. I'm removing the two screws now. There's two friction fasteners that we have to remove the tail light assembly from, and then just pull the whole assembly straight out. You can see two screw holes that attach one side of the tail light assembly, and two fastener posts that attach the other side. The Suburban has two turn signal bulbs in each tail light assembly. The same two bulbs are used for brake indication. To remove the socket, rotate a quarter turn counterclockwise and pull straight out. The bulb pulls straight out of the socket. And press the new LED bulb into the socket. Some LED bulbs are polarized, so it matters which way you put the bulb in the socket. The easiest way to get it right is just plug it in and test it. If it doesn't turn on, switch it around and then test it again. Replace the second bulb. When putting the tail light assembly back in, line up these two posts with these two holes. And then just push it into place. Now I'm going to put the upper screw in. And now the lower screw. It's a good idea to test the lights before you put any screws in. An easy way to test the lights is with the hazard button on the top of the steering column. Now we put the trim piece back on. It's easier if you angle the trim piece as shown and a little bit lower to clear the hydraulic hatch lever. and then press the 3 fasteners into place. You can see a circular rubber gasket that the trim piece is flush against and making a pretty good seal. You could probably leave it like this, but I'm going to pull the edges of the gasket up around the trim piece like it was before I removed it. This is actually where the back hatch bumper makes contact when it's closing. Replacing the bulbs in the other taillight assembly is the exact same procedure that we just walked through, so we're going to spare you the redundant video. Here you can see regular factory incandescent bulbs on the left and LED bulbs on the right. There are 3 key differences you'll observe between the 2 different bulb types. First, the factory incandescent light on the left ramps up in brightness as it turns on and ramps down in brightness as it turns off. The LED light on the right instantaneously turns on and off, so it's a crisper blink action. Second, the LED light on the right is brighter than the incandescent light on the left. And the third key difference, while not very obvious in this video, is that a red LED behind a red bezel produces a much richer red color than a white light bulb behind a red bezel. Here you can see a white LED bulb on the left and a red LED bulb on the right. Both bulbs are from the same manufacturer, the same product family, and have the same output light rating. But the red LED on the right appears brighter, and while it's not obvious in the video, it produces a much richer color of red than the white LED on the left. This is because the red bezel filters out all colors except certain wavelengths of red. So while the white LED is just as bright as the red LED, it's spread across a number of different wavelengths or frequencies, many of which are getting filtered out by the red bezel. The red LED produces light that more easily passes through the red bezel, so it appears brighter and richer in color. So my general rule is, never get a white LED to replace a brake light or a turn signal. The first choice should be the color of the bezel. If it's a yellow turn signal bezel, get a yellow LED. If it's a red brake light or a red turn signal bezel, get a red LED. If the bezel is clear, then get the color of bulb that you're replacing. Here you can see a normal blink rate and no error displayed on the driver information display. The body control module monitors the turn signal lights. We're going to show you what that means and what you do about it. Here you can see a turn blinker failure on the driver information display and a fast blinking rate. The fast blinking rate is also commonly referred to as hyper flashing. To prevent errors from showing up on the driver display and hyper flashing, you need to get LED bulbs that have a load resistor built in, or you need to install a load resistor separately from the bulb. So why would you get any other bulb? Well, LED bulbs with built-in load resistors get very hot. And maybe you found the perfect bulb in terms of brightness, configuration of LEDs, size of the bulb, but it isn't available in an error-free version. We're going to show you how to splice a load resistor into an existing cable harness in case you want to use LEDs that aren't error-free. You can splice the load resistor anywhere in the circuit, but closer to the bulb socket is usually easier. Open the splice with a screwdriver. Press the wire against the splice opening while removing the screwdriver. Make sure the wire is loose in the splice and not being pinched. Open the splice with a screwdriver. Press the wire against the splice opening while removing the screwdriver. Make sure the wire is loose in the splice and not being pinched. This is the load resistor that we are splicing in. Insert the wire into the splice. Press the metal tab with a pair of pliers until it is flush with the plastic housing. Close the plastic cover tab. Insert the wire into the splice. Press the metal tab with a pair of pliers until it is flush with the plastic housing. Close the plastic cover tab. This is the completed splice. You can see that the load resistor is in parallel with the bulb. You need a 6 ohm load resistor for a single LED bulb. The Suburban has 2 turn signal bulbs in each taillight assembly, so you either need a 3 ohm resistor on one of the 2 bulbs, or you need a 6 ohm resistor on each bulb. If you don't want to penetrate the vehicle wiring, you can make or buy a harness like the one shown here. You have to be careful that the socket that goes into the taillight assembly is the right socket. Different vehicles use different sockets, so this can be a little tricky to match up. Here you can see a much more elaborate pigtail assembly. We went under the vehicle, located the cabling harness, identified the connectors used on that harness, ordered the connectors, pins, and made our own pigtail cables and plugged them in line with the existing cable harness. In this video, we installed these bulbs. They're error-free, so you don't have to mess with any load resistors or cable harnesses. LED bulbs with built-in load resistors will use marketing terminology like error-free, CAN bus compatible, load resistor included. If it doesn't use one of these marketing terms, then plan on it not having a load resistor included in the bulb. This is another good LED for the taillight assembly. In fact, it's the brightest LED we could find. It's not error-free, so you'll have to install load resistors. Check out the description for detailed information on where to get the various parts from this video. I hope you enjoyed our video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel to see other LED conversions and other interesting videos.